Hi ho, it's B here, welcome back to the main phase. Today I'm bringing another deck profile. Today's deck profile is for DECKMASTER Turbo Duels. DECKMASTER Turbo Duels are a format based sort of on Commander, where you have a singleton deck, so one of each card, and you have a Deckmaster, sort of similar to a Commander, where it's outside of the game, in this case it's banished, and you can play that card at any time. The Turbo Duels part of the title comes from basically how you use speed counters, sort of like in Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, where you can use them to summon a monster. Other than a normal monster, you need to use counters. Plus, you can also use 3 of them to pop an opponent's monster, but they get to draw a card, and 5 of them to go infinite for that turn, which isn't really used. So let's just get into the deck profile. I've been provided this deck profile by Datacorn, who is the person that runs DECKMASTER Turbo Duel, so I'm pretty sure it's good. So let's just get into it. Okay, so as you can see, other than Blue Eyes, which is a normal monster, and normal monsters bypass the rule of singleton, every card in this deck is at 1 copies. And the deck master for the deck, and this actually is important for how the deck works, is Mathematician. And what Mathematician does is that Mathematician lets you send a level 4 or lower monster from the deck to the graveyard. And this basically lets you send the White Stone of Ancients, which then the White Stone of Ancients will special summon Blue Eyes Jet Dragon from your deck during the end phase. Just get into the card by card. So we've got Deep of Blue Eyes. This is a good card if you can special summon it. It basically just adds poly to your hand. Sure, it could add a ritual spell, but it doesn't matter. And you can banish it from the graveyard to give all your level 8 or higher dragon monsters 1000 attack, which can be notable. Lets you beat over things that are like bigger than a Blue Eyes, pretty much. Plus, you can OTK with Tyrant. Okay, so we've got Blue Eyes Alternative Dragon. This is really good if you have Blue Eyes in hand. It just lets you pop a monster and it's just a free summon. Jet Dragon, this is the main focal point of the deck. This is a newer card. It's from back. It's really good. Basically, at the start of the damage step, you can bounce summon, which means that you can bounce the thing it's battling if it were to try and destroy it by battle, or just bounce another thing, really. And it's really easy to summon. It doesn't get banished when it leaves the field, which is really crazy. So you just keep summoning it. And the fact that it protects your other cards from card effects, when this effectively has battle protection, sort of creates a situation where your opponent really struggles to deal with it. We've got Dictator of D. Dictator of D is another card from back. You can mill Blue Eyes to summon it, and then you can discard it to discard a Blue Eyes to special summon a Blue Eyes, which is just because you've already milled a Blue Eyes for this. It just helps you get out Blue Eyes, or you can use it to summon Jet or even Abyss because it's treated as Blue Eyes. No, yeah, because it's got Blue Eyes in the name. We've got Felgrand. Felgrand's just another level 8 dragon. It's just if you can summon it, if it's quite good, and it revives Blue Eyes when it destroys something by battle. Dragon Knight of Creation is another way to get out your monsters. You can send a card from your hand to the graveyard and it to the graveyard to revive a level 8 dragon. So basically Blue Eyes. And also, it can mill a Blue Eyes when it destroys by battle, which can come up. We've got Dragon Spirit of White. Dragon Spirit of White is probably one of the better Blue Eyes cards from the modern times-ish. You can tribute it to summon Blue Eyes from deck, and when it's summoned, it banishes a spell trap, which is really important because not always we have back row removal, and this can be that for your deck. Plus, because it's always treated as a Blue Eyes card, you can summon it from deck with Ancients, even though it doesn't have Blue Eyes in its name, because it basically does. We've got Mad Maiden. Maiden's just a good card. If you play it, then it basically your opponent can't do anything to it. It just sits there. Because if they do, then you'll just get Blue Eyes for free, and this means you can often stall out multiple turns, which is great in this format because it means you'll generate a bunch of counters. That's important. A lot of these monsters they're just big and they summon themselves easily, which means that then you can not have to use as many counters, which is important, obviously, because you only get one. You won't get one counter at the beginning of each turn, so you'll have 2 when it comes back to your turn if you used both of yours. 3 if you only used 1, because you'll get basically. We've got Master of Eyes of Blue. I'm not actually that familiar with this one, but it just basically adds back any of your tuners from your graveyard to your hand, and then you get to revive a Blue Eyes by sending it to grave if you've got this, by shuffling it into deck if you've got a effect monster that you can send to grave, which can be useful. You get a big beat stick out, which is the whole point of the deck. Paladin of Felgrand is pretty straightforward. You equip it with Blue Eyes from deck or Felgrand, and then you can tribute it and revive. You can tribute another monster and revive a level 7 or 8 dragon, which can be Felgrand. It can be what you equip to it, I believe, or it can just be something else. Sage basically just searches any of your, tuners, and so basically these two and then all the ones up there. And then you can discard it to basically do what Master does, where you can just send an effect monster you control to the graveyard to summon Blue Eyes. Two of the best things to send for those effects are Whitestone of Ancients and Whitestone of Legend. Ancients is the main thing you mill off this, where basically if it was in the graveyard, if it was sent there this turn in the end phase, then you can summon a Blue Eyes monster from deck, which can be Jet Dragon. Plus, you can banish it from grave to add a Blue Eyes monster from deck to hand, from grave to hand, which can be good if you want to summon it from hand with I don't know what you summon it from hand with, but if you have something that summons it from hand, you can use it to add it back. Ancient Legend is less good, but you basically just, when it's sent to grave, you add Blue Eyes, which can just be, obviously it's quite useful. You can just get Blue Eyes, just lets you summon stuff that summons it from hand, stuff that wants to put in grave, so you can summon it from hand. Alternative wants it in hand. Alternative's a pretty good thing to add off Ancients. We've got 3 Blue Eyes because it's the main focal point of the deck. Mana Dragon Zinitron is a way to reset back row, which a lot of the back row in this deck is quite powerful. And this card, being able to reset it, means that you can reuse it, which obviously can only be used once, but that's fine. Using a spell twice is powerful enough effect for it only being able to use once. Cosmic Cyclone's back row removal, Dragon Ravine mills Blue Eyes, or a Whitestone because they are dragons. Bingo Machine Go basically just lets you add a Blue Eyes card from your deck to your hand, but it's sort of random. But you can just reveal 3 Blue Eyes if you want to add Blue Eyes, or you can just reveal 3 cards that no matter which one gets added, they're all good. So that's just basically the use of that. Dragon Shrine mills Blue Eyes and then a stone. Return revives Blue Eyes plus protects Blue Eyes. Melody of Awakening Dragon discards a card to then add either like Jet, but most likely it adds Blue Eyes and Alternative, which can immediately summon Alternative. Trade-in discards Blue Eyes to draw 2, which then can enable graveyard effects, and also is just a draw 2. Ultimate Fusion lets you fusion summon one of your 2 fusion monsters, and you can use monsters from deck for it, which is just like, no, you can use monsters from graveyard for it, and then you can destroy stuff, which is just useful. First Burial mills Blue Eyes or Stone. Lightning Storm's back row removal, but also could be monster removal if you need it to be. Galaxy Cyclone and MST are both back row removal. Success Assault basically is just removal for your opponent's monsters that also lets you grab a Blue Eyes from deck, which is quite powerful, but the limitation is that you can only attack with 1 monster. Importantly, if you use this, you can still attack multiple times with Tyrant or Twin Burst, because it's 1 monster attacking multiple times rather than a multiple monsters attacking, even though they're attacking multiple times. Majesty Advisor Blue is a way to basically just nullify a monster, plus it mills Blue Eyes. What's it called? The Vision will let you summon a monster from hand, so if you added it to hand with, say, Ancients, which then you can summon stuff like, well, pretty much any of your big guys with this, and then that can get you value. You've got a bunch of revive spells. You've got Back to the Front, you've got Call of the Haunted, and you've got Oasis of Dragon Souls. These are all good because you just get a big beat streak out. If you, what's it called? Oasis does summon in defense, but it's fine because you summon it in the end phase and you can revive it, and you can just change it to attack in your turn. Dynamiscus is just good removal. Just being able to banish any card on the field is very powerful. I know it does more back row hate. Ultimate Creature of Destruction is a good way to basically just wipe your opponent's field, basically. Plus you can basically use it as a battle trick. So if they're about to beat over your Blue Eyes, you can just activate this, make it unable to be destroyed by battle, and then their monster will be destroyed. The second effect is fine. It just resets it, so you can use it again. It's just a fine card. Torrential's great, it just removes all the monsters on the field, but you can revive all yours, so you don't really get hurt as much by it. And then True Light is a quite good card. It protects your Blue Eyes monsters from targeting. You can revive or summon from hand one, and you can also set spells or traps that list it, but only if you don't have one with the same name, which is fine here because all the cards have different names. The side deck is mostly just like generic good stuff. Like Ash thing, which you might want to side in against specific decks. For example, you don't really want to use Messiah unless they are running unless they're running back row that has graveyard effects. Real quick, Mathematician is just a way to mill this, and it also draws a card when it's struck by battle, which is like extra bonus effect, sure. For the extra, we've got Twin Burst and Tyrant. Twin Burst is hard to make, but like it has the benefit where you can banish your opponent's monsters, while Tyrant can battle all your opponent's monsters, and is also immune to traps, and then you can set one of these traps again at the end of the battle. It's just a really good card. Both of them can come up. You've got Spirit Dragon. Spirit Dragon's a way to prevent Pendulum decks because it says that you can't summon multiple monsters per turn. Plus, you can just like there are certain things. Plus, negating the effects of cards in the graveyard is quite powerful because graveyard effects tend to be quite powerful. In the mirror, for example, you can negate the effect of Whitestone of Ancients. You can also tribute it to summon Black Rose Moonlight Dragon from your extra deck, which is a good way to bounce a card. Plus, then if they summon another level 5 or higher, then you get to bounce another one, but you can only use it once per turn. We've got Vermilion Dragon Mech. This can banish a tuner from grave and then or handle face up field, but you're banishing it from grave. You just pop cards. It's quite powerful. Plus, you can re-add one of the tuners. So, say you've got a Sage Advisor Blue in graveyard, you don't have to like lose it. You can just banish it and then you can get it back, which otherwise you might not be able to get it back with anything other than Master. We've got a bunch of rank 8s because you can get a bunch of level 8s and level 8 monsters onto the field. We've got Alcei. This card lets you execute the top card of your deck, and then if you declare it correctly, then you just get to add it to hand. Plus, you can detach a material when a card is milled, which you have a bunch of ways to mill. You have Dragon Ravine, you have Foolish Burial, you have Dragon Shrine. To put a card on the field on either the top or the bottom of the deck, but targeting. Dingasu is great. It has protection for basically all your cards. Plus, you can also send a card your opponent controls to the graveyard on summon, which is just so powerful because it doesn't target, so they can't respond to knowing what it is. It just does it, unless so if they want to negate it, they can't really. They've just got to hope that it's not. You've got to hope that it's not targeting the thing that they don't want it to, quote unquote, target, and let it resolve, or negate it and not know that it was gonna hit whatever they don't want it to hit. Fellground is a negate that also becomes unaffected, which can be good in like grind games. Lancelot is a mandatory negate, but it also can attack your opponent directly, which then lets you destroy their face-up monsters. Being able to destroy your opponent's monsters is quite powerful because it's like, you have other cards in the deck because you can only summon so many monsters in this format, so being able to remove them is just really useful, and this being able to also be a negate, even if it's mandatory, is just like, it's basically a topping. Xenophon is really good against exactly graveyard decks because it prevents the monsters from being special summoned from the graveyards. Importantly, don't use this if you're planning on reviving something because it is until the end of your opponent's next turn. So unless they are like so it'll be their turn currently happening, then your turn, then their turn, then their next turn. We got Soldier of Chaos. The Soldier of Chaos is just a really good monster. If you use a level 7 or higher, it can't be destroyed by all targeted, and if it destroys one opponent's monster by battle, you can either gain a 1500 attack, that's the worst effect, you can attack twice during the next battle phase, which is also pretty neat, or you can banish a card on the field, which removal is just really good. We've got both Nightmare Phoenix and Nightmare Unicorn. Both of these just discard a card to either destroy a spell, trap, or shuffle a card onto the field into the deck. Shuffling card onto the field of the deck is obviously quite powerful because because it's not as easy to recur as something that's been put in the graveyard or banished. And destroying a spell trap because it's just a link to it, which is quite powerful. Importantly, both of these take monsters with different names, so you can't use two blue eyes to make them. And Link Rebo is a really good card for unbricking yourself. Obviously, with Mathematician, you're always going to get the White Stone of Ancients into the graveyard. But say you have another thing and you're like later into the game, you can unbrick yourself just by putting it engraved. Then I don't know, but yeah, but you can just make a Link Rebo, which is just good. Okay, guys, sorry for a bit of the. I'm not super knowledgeable about this deck, but thanks for watching, guys. Be sure to join Deckmaster Turbo Duels in the format in the description below. Be sure to join Rewrite format as well. We're hoping to release mini set 1 very soon. Subscribe to my Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to the channel. We're hoping to hit 150 subscribers by the end of the year. And also, I made a Tumblr, so that will also be in the description if you want to check that out. I've not posted anything yet, but I will soon. Okay, thank you guys for watching, and I will be out.